Hey, what is good? It's Manuel Godoy for another exciting class on Kickstarter. Alright, so this one is a PowerPoint. I know you guys never see me on PowerPoints, right? So this time we're going to do it very classic in here. We're going to get the PowerPoint up and we're going to be able to show you exactly what I want to teach for this particular course. This is the first of many. So this is a series. This is not one class on Kickstarter, okay? This is like freaking maybe close to 6 classes on Kickstarter before the launch of my first of a series of Kickstarters I plan on doing starting in April. All right, so this is going to be the first one right here. So if you're here right now, definitely leave a shout out in our comment section. Tell me word counts. I love seeing word counts. Go tell me where you're at and what you've experienced in the course so far. While you're doing that, I will start looking for some other references that I need to show you. There's some cool stuff on there. A lot of cool stuff about numbers and everything else, and it's just crazy. Orlandis is like putting in some work, boy. Look at that, 40,000 words. That's a lot of words, but it's on pace, so it's not a problem at all, right? That's damn near close to, I say, 7,000 words a week. That's pretty good. How about you guys? Who else has been punching in the clock and getting their numbers up? Now, I know it's a little odd to see me on a Thursday, right? But I told you guys that every now and then we're gonna have classes on an off day because I have events going on during the weekend. This weekend on Friday we're gonna be going to um, a writing intensive in Alabama, so that's gonna be pretty cool. And we're gonna learn a couple of stuff. We might land an agent, who knows, right? But it's going to be a pretty exciting day, and I most likely will be dead as hell afterwards. So I want to be able to teach. That's why I'm here today, you know. But let's go into this course today, all right? We're going to start with Kickstarter, all right? Let's go to the first slide. So, the first thing I want to talk about for all you guys is success rates of a first time project, all right? These are basically what you're going to see on basically Kickstarter. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that you're going to be looking at, especially when it pertains to us. Right? We're comic books, we're doing children's books, we're doing novels. So these are the numbers that you need to be looking for, okay? So first of all, 45% of comics are successfully funded as a first-time creator. So in other words, if you made one comic, if you first time you ever gone to Kickstarter in your life, okay, there's a 45% chance that your Kickstarter campaign will be successful so long as you put a reasonable goal up there. It's actually one of the highest uh, genres of Kickstarter projects that get successfully funded off the initial first time. Probably because there's a big community of comic book developers on Kickstarter and comic book enthusiasts. So you will get natural traffic. Now the thing about it is, there are exceptions. For instance, if your stuff is super hardcore, unapologetically black, you might get a lot less percentage, and you'll have to bring more people from your own personal audience to help you, right? But for the most part, this is what the community average is. 45% of comics are successfully funded. For publishing, which means basically novels, children's books, chapter books, educational resources, whatever, right? Independent publishing is 30%. So there's a huge difference between a comic book success rate and a regular book success rate on Kickstarter. The reason is most likely because it's spread out, right? It's very spread out. You'll see a children's book one day, you'll see encyclopedia the next, and because there's such different genres, right? There's such different mediums for the books, they don't really have a community like they do for just straight up comic books, right? So 30% is your thing. That's less than 1/3 of the time you will be successful doing this. Well, unless you listen to me, then you'll be at like 90%. And then If successful, future success rates rapidly climb to the point where over 90% of your projects will be funded. So there's actually a magic number for this. So basically at about 5 projects, right? 5 projects completed, your success rate for any future projects past that point will be 91%. All right? So once you've proven that you could do it over and over again, it'll climb to the point where it's damn near impossible to fail. You understand what I'm saying? So what we want to do is be consistent and succeed. You know what I'm saying? Now let's move on to the next page. Uh, these are the things you will need to succeed in order for your Kickstarter to have success. All right. So I basically narrowed it to 6 very cool topics. By the way, if you like the new format of the way the PowerPoint slides look, like the pictures, the way it's laid out, let me know in the comments section because this is a completely new style I've done for PowerPoints because I think it's more engaging. So if you think this is good, let me know in the comments and I'll definitely make sure to do more of it if you like it this way. So here are the main things that you will need to succeed. Press coverage, all right? You need the press on your side. That's organic. That is not paid ads or anything. That's straight up organic. You are getting organic reach through the press. The press could be bloggers. The press could be content dumps. You know, I call content dumps basically companies that basically allow you to contribute to their company by submitting articles, and they'll post the articles that they feel best meets their criteria for the week, right? So so some places are closed, like let's say the Huffington Post, they're closed. They won't allow anyone to submit to them, but if you're a Huffington Post contributor, you can. Now, but if it's like Blavity, you could just straight up submit an article, and if it gets approved, it's instantly thrown up there. And you're not a Blavity contributor. You're just somebody who put up an article that happened to be accepted by Blavity. You understand what I'm saying? So that's what those are. And the more you can get on those, the better, because they're gonna help you out in your down times. Kickstarter is about basically a high, a low, and then a high again. So in other words, your campaign starts off strong, the middle of the campaign is extremely weak, almost non-existent, and then the last 5 days of the campaign it starts picking up, and the very last day it goes through the roof. All right, that's usually how a Kickstarter's life cycle goes. The press helps the middle because they usually drop their articles around halfway through your Kickstarter, and that means that the middle won't be so dry. Right? We don't want to have a desert in the middle. So that's what the press coverage is for. Mailing list. Mailing list to get your current fans. Your current fans to take action on day one. Your current fans to remind them to take action and to not miss the deadline for your Kickstarter. It's important that you reach these people not through social media, right? Not through Facebook, not through YouTube, but through email because it's the easiest way to go directly to them and remind them at any time that your campaign is live. All right? Next, you have an epic pitch video. You need a high quality video. I don't give a damn how poor you are. Spend $200 and make a freaking awesome video. Okay? I don't care how freaking poor you think you are. You need to make an awesome video, a funny, engaging video, or some kind of primal emotion in order to convey your story and why they should back you. I don't want to hear no excuses about recording your damn video on your cell phone with bad audio and everything else. That'll just piss me off. I'll be mad at you, especially if I am helping you in your campaign and I find out you do a video like that. I'll throw you out the damn house. All right? Then we have a clear call to action. You have to have a plan that basically says this is why you need to pledge right now. All right? Clear call to actions help significantly increase the chances of someone backing your project. For instance, if you talk about how cool your book is, right, in your pitch video, right? If you do that, right, you're basically only increasing your success maybe slightly when you do that. But if you say right at the beginning, for those of you who already know me, the $100 tier was custom made for you so you can get all the new content being created in this video. I mean, in this Kickstarter. For everyone else, here, listen to about who we are, what we do, and then check out these rewards that you'll be going for. So basically, you're saying people who already know you, if they already know you, you should just tell them exactly what they need to do. The $100 tier is custom made for you. That's called a clear call to action. People will pick that one the most because you basically told them to. You know, a lot of people don't like going through each and every single reward and saying which one they think is going to be the best one for them. They usually just take your word for it because they support you. All right, so that's why we have clear calls awards. Next thing, awards that are worth it. All right, you can't just go on there and say I'm gonna give you a shirt and that's it. All right, that's not gonna work. You can't just say, hey, I'm giving you a shirt. Definitely support my campaign and pay damn near 3 times the price for a shirt than you normally should. That's not cool. What you want to have on Kickstarter, you want to have basically items that matter. For instance, having people's names in the credits is a great way to get higher tiers selected as opposed to lower tiers. So a lower tier might for a comic book might be $20 to get the comic book, right? And that don't mean anything. $20. It's not that much, right? So they'll do it. But then you say, I don't want $20 for the campaign. Instead, I'll give you for $100. I'll give you uh, the comic. I'll give you a shirt. I'll give you a poster. I'll give you a special book that's exclusive to Kickstarter. And I'll put your name in the credits. Now, all those items together might cost you at most $30, right? So you have $70 of upsell that you basically added on there in order to develop your product. But because that extra thing about actually putting their name in the product, because actually putting their name on the actual book is so important to a lot of people, it gives them great worth. They're going to select that product specifically because of that perk. The other ones are nice to haves, but the name in the project is the big bad boy. All right. Let's see. And then last one is an accurate budget. So with Kickstarter, there are special things you need to consider when you're pacing your budget. All right. You know how we had the budget tool for estimating the cost of how much it's going to take to make your book? There are extra factors when it comes to Kickstarter that you need to calculate into your calculations in order to set your goal properly. All right. Nothing's worse than meeting your goal and then finding out you don't have enough money to finish your product. That's literally the worst possible scenario because people are relying on you at that point. So let's move on to specifics. We're going to the press, right? So first things first, the press. What to do? Make sure you contact relevant editors in your genre. So if you're writing a book about goths, right? Then you make sure you contact companies that do heavy metal music, bloggers who review goth content or whatever. That's what you want to do. You want to stick to those type of people. You do not want to go and pitch it to someone who's not alternative. All right. Uh, Contribute to content hubs. So if you think you can get your stuff on Board Panda or freaking Blavity or Afropunk, just contribute to them and see what happens. It might go off, it might not, but it's not much of an effort. All you gotta do is basically paste your press kit and stuff right into their thing, make it a little bit relevant to their specific website, and try your luck. You might get it. The next one, do not sound like you are trying to sell something. This is very important. So basically 95% of your article, if you're trying to submit an article to a company, 95% of it needs to be relevant to their actual company. The 5% is where you slick and put your plug for your Kickstarter. All right. So if people love your company and love what you're doing, they're going to keep reading and figure out how they can support you. And eventually you get to the point where you say, hey, we're actively raising money right now. Please help us. But if you go and try to do that as the main theme of your articles, most of them will be denied. They just simply won't cover it. All right, so we gotta be very careful about that. And also have a moment appropriate theme. So, in other words, if it's Valentine's Day and you're doing a story about love or maybe tragic love, right? You could write a story about basically how Valentine's Day fits into your story, right? Or how it's relevant to your story. And by doing that, you can kind of circumvent the initial problem, which was trying to make it 95% about the company standards to 5% for yourself, and instead make it 100% about yourself because it's appropriate for the season. They're looking for Valentine's Day stories, interesting ones. And you happen to have one and you're raising money for it right now on Kickstarter. They might be the perfect thing for them. So they more likely will accept direct sales pitches at that moment. All right? Here's what not to do. All right? Don't use press releases that just state the facts like, hey, on January 25th, our Kickstarter will launch. It will be 31 days, and it's about this awesome book. You need to support it now. That will die instantly everywhere in the universe. All right, nobody will cover that. Uh, don't pitch off genre. All right, don't go to a black website and talk about how you support Trump. You'll never get an article published. All right, then pitched non-themed during holidays. So in other words, any holiday at all, I don't care what holiday it is, you can't get them to cover your story during the holidays if it doesn't have something to do with that holiday. Period. It don't matter how nice you make it sound. They will never post anything that you are posting during the holidays because during the holidays they're trying to post only content for that holiday. Cuz it's very good for clickbait. All right, next one is a keys to a damn good video. All right, so you need a good pitch video, and these are the main keys you need. All right, just like a movie, right? The first 5 seconds means everything. It's the reason why when you watch a movie about DC, they have that boring DC introduction, right? And no one cares. They're like, oh, it's so boring, right? But then you see the Marvel one, and the Marvel one's like, dun, 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 dun. And you see like all these heroic scenes and people are getting smashed in the face and all these heroes are being shown and you're like, oh crap, this is dope. I don't even know what this movie's about yet. But because of that intro of how the Marvel logo comes out and all these different scenes and stuff all sliced in 5 seconds, you're like in it now. You're already amped before you even start your video. That's what you need for your Kickstarter videos. So let me see if I can give you an example of this on my Kickstarter because I think I did have an example of that. Let me go see if I can find it for you real quick. Extremely important to have this. Let's see what we got here. I'll make sure it loads up first, then I'll switch it over so you can see it. All right, so I got it loaded up right now. Let's go and get this done. Let's go to my editor, make sure you guys can see this. Uh, which one is it? This one? All right, good. All right, you guys see me? Good, good, good. So let me go and show you what I'm talking about real quick. Let's go to the Kickstarter video. And we're going to make this big, right? Now watch the first 5 seconds of this video. You'll understand as clear as day what I'm talking about, right? Watch this. And basically, you don't need to see the whole thing, but that's what you basically are giving. You're giving people something that's in 5 seconds you're gonna blow their mind, right? And at that point, they're like, "Hey, wait a second, let me go and watch the rest of this. I don't know what just happened, but damn, it feels like they're legit, right?" So that's definitely what we want to do, right? So let's get back into this course. All right. So now, what we're talking about here, the 5 seconds of death, definitely make sure it's your 5 seconds. Well, don't worry about it. If you didn't hear the video, you couldn't hear on the video. Okay, let me see. Let me see if I can get that working again. Let me just see if I can hear it. You couldn't hear it, so okay. So it's not picking it up. Let's see properties. Let's try that. Let's try it again real quick. Nope, that didn't pick it up either. Let's see properties. Headphones. All right, let me try one more time. Okay, so you can hear it now. Let's try this again. I'll let it go again, just to do it correctly. All right, so let's go and because if you didn't hear it, it's kind of very important that you do hear it. So let's see. Interview. We're going to go right into it. And we're going to maximize this. Start right over. Come on, start all over. Okay, there we go. All right, you guys can see this now, and I know you can hear it because I'm seeing it picked up on the what's it called. So here you go. Hello, how's it going, Kickstarter, okay? For all you people who know me, Manuel Godoy from Black Sands, I don't really need to sell you on this. Just go down to the $100 tier, claim your rewards. You know the $100 tier is always the hottest tier. We only got 3 this time. For everybody else, this Kickstarter is about continuing the series of Black Sands for issue 4, 5, and 6. We've been doing amazing things this last year, breaking all kinds of records, endorsed by Michelle Obama, covered by Publishers Weekly, and voted the 4th best indie comics of 2017 by Bleeding Cool. We're continuing this, and we're also making an animation which we funded in the summer. People are excited because we already done some footage. Check it out right now. And you see right there, that is what you do in order to dominate when you're talking about a Kickstarter. That's so much social proof. That's so much professionalism, and and you're giving them a direct call to action for people to go and make a decision before they even watch the rest of your video. That's the way you need to be setting up your stuff. And you got to be able to speak naturally too. Don't go and try to look a certain way, right? Don't try to make it all. People like sitting down and talking like, "Hey, I'm going to sit down and tell people about my story," and it's like this. They're like, "Yes, I was writing my book 7 years ago, and I'm just very excited about this. I really am passionate about this project. You should definitely back it because it's going to be an amazing work. I promise." They won't even move an inch when they're saying this. Do you trust people like that, or do you like, yo, throw some freaking energy in there so you can actually so you can motivate me to take action? All right. If people want to follow the guy who's freaking in front going hardcore, I'm gonna win. They want to follow that. They don't want to go and rely on a person who looks like they're insecure. You understand what I'm saying? So energy is very important. The next one that we're going to be looking at is a clear call to action. All right. So clear call to action is very important. Basically, what you're looking at is you're trying to, basically you saw in the video, I said a clear call to action right at the beginning. I said, look, the $100 tier has everything you need that's brand new for this campaign. Go and get it right now. For everybody else, I have to convince them, right? As much social proof as possible. Notice how right at the beginning I said, "Hey, we've been covered by Publishers Weekly, endorsed by Michelle Obama, and voted the fourth best indie comics of 2017 by Bleeding Cool." Right? It's like we even got animation out there. It's like these are the kind of things that the amount of confidence I'm saying these things, like it's almost a sure bet that I'm gonna make this campaign. So join me. And that's basically the kind of aura you need to go, because people are basically trying to figure out a reason why they should trust you, right? So you have to show them, well, you trust me because I already know it's going to happen. you know Endorsements, if you have any endorsements at all, make them front and center. All right, I don't care if it's an endorsement from your local library. Okay, I don't care if it's endorsement from your freaking professor in college. Say it like Dr. What's it called of the blah 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 institute says this is blah 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 blah. It sounds really professional. They don't even know that you're talking about some freaking community college, right? Because it sounds amazing when you say Dr. What's it called of X, Y, and Z Institute. You say it a certain way to make it sound like it's freaking top of the line. Like, you see how all these pharmacy companies, they always say studies show that this product is the best one out of hundreds of products. What studies? Right? What studies? But they say that because it gives them social proof, and they're very vague about it on purpose, because it could be a study they paid for themselves. Maybe they did the study, right? So obviously it wouldn't have any merit, but because they can't be called a liar because they made the study themselves, they're actually speaking the truth. They're just saying it in a certain way so that you have more confidence in them, even though they don't deserve it yet. All right? Finished work. Any finished work if you're planning on showing any images at all in your Kickstarter video, it better be finished work. All right? If you want to show your character, it better not be a sketch of your character. It better be the actual character fully rendered. If you're going to show a scene in your comic book or a scene in your children's book, it better be a fully rendered scene. I don't want to see no sketches. I don't want to see no, oh, right now we didn't put the shadows in. We didn't put the shadow layer in, so you're just going to have to mind me. But that's why I need this Kickstarter so I can fund that. Man, get a couple of pages done first, and then go to Kickstarter and make sure you can show finished work. Or it don't have to be a lot. It don't have to be a lot. You can go to Kickstarter with like 6 completed pages and say, hey, I want to do a book 40 pages long. This is the standard that I'm setting for the book, right? That's how you infuse confidence. Anything that's finished is always better than concepts, all right? No one likes concepts. Previous titles. If you've written anything in your life, all right, put it in there. Say, I've written this, I've written that. I've written 7 RPGs in RPG Maker, right? I've freaking you said I've competed in competitions. Oh, guess what? Also compete in writing competitions, just to say that you competed in them. All right? You don't have to win. You don't have to do good at them at all. Just simply say, oh, I've competed in this competition, this competition, this competition. The fact that you're basically trying, and the fact that you're active in writing, is a great indicator that most likely you'll finish the damn project. All right? So always put that stuff in. Now, Nandi, when you say pitch videos are pretty expensive, they're not. I would say that at most they're about $200, right? That's at most about $200, unless you want to add a million effects on the video. Should be about $200 to go and cut it up real nice, make it flow real good, get rid of all the errors that you might have made during your stuff, and that'd be pretty good. Lastly, carnal emotion. All right. Your video has to center around one emotion. Whatever that emotion is, that's the emotion you have to convey in your video. That's the emotion that you need to convey in your entire Kickstarter campaign. That's the emotion you need to convey in your ads. All right? There's a reason why everything that's basically created has one specific key emotion that people do it on. Here's some examples. So we have basically 6 emotions that I go through, but there are more. But these are like basically giant emotional states that a lot of people can relate to. Fear, right? So let's say you're doing a Kickstarter to launch your own newspaper because the press is trying to stop us from sharing the message that the people really need. Look at all that fear mongering you're doing. But guess what? You're going to have a successful campaign because people who are interested in newspapers are interested because they want to hear actual news instead of what the media wants them to hear. So that's perfect for that kind of campaign, right? Pride. Let's say you're doing a book and you want to talk about history before slavery, right? You want to talk about the pride. What is our African pride, right? That's the kind of thing that you can put throughout your example. So instead of coming at the campaign like, oh, we're always oppressed, oh, we're always so victimized by a community. Don't do that because that's conflicting with what you're trying to sell them. Instead, you say like this: we have always been kings. We have always had empires. We come from empires. And there's a reason why we will be great again. That's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to make sure that people are aware of their greatness. And now people are going to jump on that bandwagon hard because you're giving them so much confidence and pride in themselves. That's why you need to stick to that message. Don't try to go negative than positive. Go hardcore into the positive, all right? Next, you got humor, right? Humor's great. If you can get people to laugh, most likely they'll back your campaign. Laughter is like one of the most, uh, the probably the best skill you could possibly have is getting people to laugh. Whether it's writing, whether it's videos, whether it's just simple social interactions. If you make people laugh, you're winning. All right. Acceptance. Maybe it's a story about acceptance. Maybe you're writing a story about being a homosexual, right? And because you're writing a story about being a homosexual, your story is themed on acceptance, right? I'm being accepted into society, and you want to kind of show this metropolis type scenario in which it's no longer bad to be gay for whatever reason, right? This is your message. This is the kind of thing you're conveying to people, and then supporters of that emotion connected to the LGBT community will support you enthusiastically. They won't support you like, oh, I guess I'll throw $20 at that. They'll be like, no, I think I'm going to throw like $200 at that because this is needed. You understand what I'm saying? The themes are important, and it has to be an emotional theme. It can't be too complicated. It has to be an emotional, carnal experience. You know? Anger. Maybe it's anger. Maybe it's I'm sick of this. Maybe it's Hidden Colors, right? Tariq Nasheed type stuff, right? He goes and makes videos, and it's about anger. It's about what the government, what the systems of white supremacy and all those other things are doing to black people, and why you need to support them. You need to support him in making these videos so that we can expose this. Right? That's anger. That's anger. And he wants to galvanize as much anger out of his community as possible. He'll throw up pictures, he'll throw up articles, newspaper articles, and everything else to piss people off during the campaign. So they go to that campaign and say, I'm dropping $500 to make this damn movie because it's needed. You understand? He's channeling a one emotion, right? And then lastly, love. Everybody loves love. Women a lot more than men. So so if you're going for that kind of audience, you want to go and basically hit that emotion. Try to hit that emotion in ways that people can relate to, right? Maybe it's a relationship that's gone bad. But if you go and make it relatable, if you make it very personal, you can get a lot of people to support you because they've gone through the same thing. Try to make sure that whatever you're going for is not too specific to you. It has to be something that almost every person in a couple has gone through. Right? If it's about dogs, make sure it's a story. It's something about losing your dog. Because guess what? Every single dog owner out there dreads the day or had the worst day in their life was when their dog died. Okay? So these are the kind of things that you want to convey because they're very relatable to your audience and they'll support you for it. All right? People can't relate. They can't help you. So, that is it for this course. What I am going to do is on Monday, we're going to continue this again. We're going to be talking about three topics for Kickstarter. Building your list, your mailing list, social proof. How do you convey social proof on social media, right? How do you do that? We're going to talk about that. and then making an accurate budget. All right, we need that accurate budget as well because it's very important to not underestimate your cost and then end up having a successful Kickstarter and a failed project. That is the worst. That is a career ender. If you have a successful Kickstarter and a failed project, you might as well just call it a day because no one will trust you again. All right, so any questions? I'm going to give you a couple of seconds to ask any questions that you have, and then I am going to call it a day. All right, so I'm going to give you about 2 minutes to ask your questions. Whew. Oh, no problem, man. Thank you so much for your birthday wishes. I really appreciate that. Uh, yeah, that's nice. Today's my birthday. I've been worked to death today, but that's just too many things lined up today at the same time. So there's nothing I can do about that. You got to keep grinding, right? Life of an entrepreneur. But I had a good lunch with my family. That was pretty cool. Let's see what we got here. All right, so Sleepy James says, "How long did the process take to gain traction with your book?" I'd say it took about a year to get traction for my video game when I was developing it, and then I just transitioned over to the book when I felt like giving up on the video game. And when that happened, it was pretty instantaneous. I had about 15,000 followers on Instagram at the time. Now I'm at close to 100,000. Right, I'm very close. I hope I get to 100,000 very soon. Right, but that's what's up. You know. Anybody else? Any other questions? All right, so let's see here. Well, first of all, Medjai, what are you talking about? You talking about a comic book? If that's a comic book, that number is astronomically bad. The only people who would dare charge $650 are people who work for Marvel. All right, because that's how much Marvel pays them. All right, so, so if they've been working for like 20 years in the industry as a professional, you don't need to be contacting them. You need to be contacting people who's maybe worked on it for 5 years independently. You damn sure don't want to work for people who are established in the industry. 650 is an astronomical price, only done by people who work in the industry for decades. All right, don't even think about a price like that. Let's see what else we got. Orlandis Hardy says, "How would a Kickstarter work for us writing novels? It'll work exactly the same way. You got to think of some cool perks you can give people for your novels. Usually with novels, the best kind of perks are exclusive books that are only available through the Kickstarter. So in other words, you have your Kickstarter book, right, that you're going to sell. You also have maybe some shirts or some kind of merchandise. Bookmarks are always great, right? But then you add an additional short book that is created entirely for Kickstarter backers. It's a collector's item. It's extremely rare. It'll have its own ISBN. That way everybody can track it, right? And it's proof that they have this very rare item. So it'll grow in value over time. That is how you make a successful novel Kickstarter, all right? Let's see. Cool Tool says, "How do I capture audiences with more than books, movies, posters, games?" I don't even know what that means. How do I capture audiences with more than the books, movies, I don't even know. I don't know what that means. Rephrase that sentence. Uh, Great Gale says, "Do you only focus on one emotion and some of the other emotions, or just one?" When it comes to a Kickstarter campaign, I focus on one emotion. However, when it comes to doing social media ads, sometimes I do multiple different emotions because people react to certain things differently, right? So some of my audience react viscerally to anger. Some of my audience reacts viscerally to pride, right? So for social media campaigns, especially ads, I might use different emotions, you know. But for the actual campaign page and the Kickstarter video, I always stick to one emotion. Yeah. So Medjai basically well, first of all, let me be clear. All right, the artist that you're talking to, right? The artist that you're talking to, he's trying to make you run away. All right? He doesn't want your work. All right? Most of these people who work for Marvel, DC, and all those other things, they don't want to work for new people. They hate working for new people, right? Because it goes against their portfolio. So what they do is they say an astronomical number because if you're willing to pay that number, I guess they can dedicate some hours to go and make your pages, right? But they know that number is absolutely absurd. Marvel's not paying $32,000 to go and make a freaking comic book. Hell no, they ain't doing that. So, so, so what they're doing is just trying to intimidate you out of there. It's the same reason why when someone DMs me about, hey, how much will it cost to do a cover? I say, $2,000. I say that because he said I don't do commissions. So unless you're just gonna give me enough money to do damn near 15 pages of additional content of my own books, I'm not doing your cover. You know, it's like watch those numbers. Make sure that when you're looking at when people are giving you quotes, first of all, don't ever engage people who are like super at the top. That's crazy. All right, you're starting off. Get somebody who's good, but not freaking worth over $120 a page for manga, black and white. All right, if it's color, up to $200. Now I gave you a price sheet in the other video. In one of my earlier videos, I gave you guys a price sheet that gave you estimates of what you should be paying. All right, stick to that. It's safe. It's a safe numbers. All right, let's see what else. Mika Wilson, if you're saying what should you do if the first graphic novel and you need to raise money to pay for the artwork? If you need to raise money to pay for the artwork and you can't do it yourself, you might need to go into a collaboration with an artist. Collaboration gives co-ownership to the artist. That way the artist will feel good about working for you for free. And then you split the funds for the Kickstarter when you actually do it later on. But if you can't afford any art at all, you have to give up some equity in your story. If you don't do that, there is literally nothing that we can do for you. You're doomed. All right? It said whenever you're choosing a visual medium, you must be prepared for the cost because visual mediums are way harder than novels. So Kelvin Blackman, this is for people who want to never pay for their books again. All right. This has nothing to do with whether you could just make your book and then start selling your book. You could do that. That's not a problem. All right. This is for people who want to basically never have to pay for their books ever again. Right? Any new book, book 2, book 3, book 4, they don't want to pay for that stuff, so they want to do Kickstarter. So the community pays for it instead of them. So and Kickstarter is basically a glorified pre-order system. So you could do whatever you want. You could just straight up make your book and then market it and then sell it, and that's perfectly fine. If that's exactly what you want to do and you don't want to be dealing with crowdfunding, go right ahead. More power to you. There's a whole bunch of times I choose not to go to Kickstarter. I just make it, because I can afford it and because I have the time allocated to pull it off. But whenever I can't afford it, I go to Kickstarter to make sure I get those funds. Uh, So, cool tool, random videos. How do I get audiences with more than books such as movies, posters, games, etc.? Nothing you can do really. Your content needs to revolve around your main product that you're selling. It needs to be related to that directly. So, if it is related to that directly, it will help. If it's not directly related directly to it, then most likely all you're gonna do is water down your audience, and then you won't be able to reach them as easily. Ryan Anderton, that will be in another class. We're going to be talking about how to calculate your costs for Kickstarter. All right. All right, guys. I am done for tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in, and hope you guys keep writing those things. You got 1 month and like 1 week left, so get her done. All right. See you later.